Hello survivors, Sobers here, bringing you 7 days to die tips and tricks video. I decided to do all 30 tips in one video, so whoever watched my episode 1, you can skip to tip number 11. I'll post a timestamp in the description below. Let's begin. Tip number 1. Make sure you finish the tutorial quests. They give you 4 free skill points without increasing the game difficulty known as the game stage. Also, the last quest will lead you to the closest trader, which is always useful to know.
Your money is welcome here.
Tip number 2. Hunt all the Bambis and Pumbas, especially in the beginning of the game, to have plenty of food. Don't forget about crouching for extra sneak attack damage. Then smash their corpses with stone axe until you get a bone. Use that bone to make a shiv and finish skinning animal with ease. Tip number 3. Loot all the nests for feathers and eggs to have enough resources for arrows and the best food in early and mid game, bacon and eggs. Tip number 4. If you find a workbench that is not damaged, mark its location on your map so you can come back at level 20 and craft some iron tools. You will not be able to make a workbench yourself until you reach level 25. The best part about this strategy is that you don't need to come back to the workbench every time a tool breaks, because you can repair it yourself in your inventory if you have enough forged iron. Tip number 5. When looting any building, be careful entering a new room. There might be zombies just around the corners, who insta-hit you when you walk in, sometimes even from both sides. Tip number 6. Having problems with vultures? You may waste quite a bit of ammo trying to hit them unless you're a Hanzo main. I suggest using 1 melee power attack and send them flying. Tip number 8. Make sure you finish chopping down a tree, hitting a rock, or digging a block of dirt because it will give you some extra resources upon completion. Tip number 8. Don't fight in small rooms or hallways. The bigger the area, the better your chances of surviving. It is way easier to kite all the zombies outside of the building. Tip number 9. Smash some doors or windows just before entering a building or a room to lure most of the zombies outside for an easier fight. Just remember, some sleepers still might be there, so be on the lookout. Tip number 10. Alpha 17 brought a lot of buffs and debuffs to 7 days to die. Because there are so many, I will not discuss them in here, but teach you how to understand them. So when you get one, you will be notified by a specific icon just above your stamina bar. To understand what each buff or debuff does, press tab, open a character menu, and you will see all current status effects on the right hand side of the screen. Select each to read what it does and how it affects your gameplay. Tip number 11. Make sure to take all the loot from all the containers. If you don't need something, just take it and drop it on the ground. This will help containers respawn the loot properly. If you leave something that you don't need in there, it will not respawn new items. The game will think you just used that space for storage. Tip number 12. A tip for beginners. If you haven't built a horde base yet, surviving your 7th day horde might be a challenge. I suggest climbing the roof of a concrete building and destroying a way in. During the blood moon, move around the roof to switch zombies' attention from particular spot that might collapse soon. I also suggest to have at least 300 arrows and 2 to 3 bows to kill zombies. Tip number 13. Use your map to mark points of interest. Place markers for traders, specific shops for loot, military bases, friendly bases. Also, you can place a marker on a house that you just looted and give it a specific number, representing when the loot in that house will respawn. For example, you looted this house on day 5. Then you place a marker 10, so you know that on the 10th day you can loot this house again. The number of days for the loot to respawn depends on your world settings, so make sure you know what it is. Don't forget to share some of those markers with your friends. Tip number 14. If you are playing on a randomly generated map, open your map and find 00 coordinates. Every one of those maps has a city there known as the hub city. This will save you a lot of time wandering the wasteland for a city to build your base in. Tip number 15. You know what it is? No, this is not a walking horde. This is called walking XP farm. Killing zombies is the fastest way to level up, so make sure to put every single one of them out of its misery for some easy leveling up. Tip number 16.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Mining Helmet! It is a very rare item that provides an infinite light source, extremely useful for surviving underground and fighting hordes at night. But did you know that you can craft it? To make it, you will need 1 football helmet, 1 flashlight, 8 electrical parts, 5 duct tapes, and 4 scrap plastics. Also, you will need an advanced engineering perk to unlock the recipe for it. A small price to pay for such a legendary item. However, Alpha 17 is amazing and brought us a lot of mods, and one of those mods is a helmet light which can be installed in the most headwear and provide exactly the same feature as the mining helmet. Tip number 17. There are many tough enemies in 7 Days to Die, and most of them can cause you to bleed. Bleeding takes a huge portion of your health over time, therefore I suggest you have bandages on your belt at all times, so you can stop bleeding at any point. Tip number 18. To restore max health, use some of these meds. To restore max stamina, eat any food. Tip number 19. To make an infinite water source at your base, make a hole 2x2 and fill it with water using a metal bucket. Then grab all of your glass jars and fill them with water. Next, take the remaining water with your bucket and pour it back into the hole. Rinse and repeat when you need some water. Tip number 20. Some of us like to feel safe underground. Here's a tip for my fellow bedrock dwarves. To make a room underground, just dig a perimeter and then remove the top and bottom layers of the room. All the rock in the middle of the room will collapse, so you can start building your moria. Tip number 21. Mechanical parts are used in most late game recipes, so you'll need a lot of them. Here's a list of the best props that you can dismantle with your wrench to get them. Office chairs, file cabinets, cars, and shopping carts. There are some other props that you can dismantle as well, but these are the easiest in my opinion. Tip number 22. If you see a barricaded door, it usually takes quite a bit of time to break through. Try focusing on the wall beside it instead. Most of the walls in the houses are made of wood, so it is easier to break 2 wooden blocks than a metal door. Tip number 23. Did you know that you get exactly the same amount of materials if you scrap a used item or a brand new one? Durability does not affect how much materials you get for scrapping. So if you have some tools or weapons that you don't need and use them to its fullest already, just scrap them. Tip number 24. I have talked about hidden loot in cracked walls, but did I mention that some houses have secret stashes behind the paintings? So make sure you vandalize all the art in this world for some extra loot. Tip number 25. Don't have a nice even ground to start growing your farm? Place wood frames on the ground and pick them up to even it out. Tip number 27. Update on Alpha 17. You cannot build underground farms anymore. Each soil block needs a direct sunlight. Tip number 27. Build a ledge around your base to prevent spider zombies from climbing up and eating your face. Tip number 28. When you select a building piece, make sure to press R to check out advanced rotation options. These options give you a lot of flexibility on building. Tip number 29. If you still don't know how to equip arrows, select your bow and hold the R key to select arrow type. Works the same for crossbows and guns. Tip number 30. Sometimes, the day before the blood moon will spawn a wandering dog horde. Be on the lookout because they're very dangerous. Thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like if you learned something new, and comment down below if you have any other tips. Please check out my 7 Days to Die gameplay and consider subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next one.